But in light of all the other positive developments between the U.S. and North Korea, three Tennessee Republicans now signing a letter formally nominating President Donald Trump for the Nobel Peace Prize. My next guest is one of those nominating him. Join me now, Republican Tennessee Congressman Marsha Blackburn. And I've got to say this, Congressman, because my mom's watching. You were asked to be called Congressman. My mother will think I'm disrespectful if I say that instead of Congresswoman.
Your mother will know that you are using the correct title for the job.
Out of respect, I will adhere to all your wishes, and I'm glad to know that I'm actually correct with my grammar. Being from Texas,
grammatically correct.
Being from Texas, that doesn't happen very often. I want to ask you about this Nobel Peace Prize nomination. Look, you've had some conflict with the Nobel Peace Prize. There was a lot of people that was very polarizing when President Obama was nominated for the Nobel Peace Prize after only 2 months into office. You had Mahatma Gandhi was never given the Nobel Peace Prize.
Right.
Yasser Arafat was given the Nobel Peace Prize. It seems like this organization does not have a lot of credibility when it comes at least to the Nobel Peace Prize, not the physics prize or the math prize, but the Nobel Peace Prize. Why would you think it's so important for the president to be nominated and, I would assume, win this Nobel Peace Prize?
One of the things that I think is significant is that President Moon of South Korea is who originally said he thought that the president should receive the Nobel Peace Prize. If this is a president who, because of his accomplishment and actions and the fact that he is leading through strength, if he is able to bring an end to the Korean conflict and resolve this and have an irrevocable and complete denuclearization of the Korean Peninsula, that is quite an achievement. And I think that this would be something people around the globe would say, the president's peace through strength is paying a dividend. This is something that should have been done long ago, getting Kim Jong-un to the negotiating table so that you're going to resolve this and make certain that it is a complete process. That's noteworthy.
A few months ago, if you had said that the denuclearization was on the table in North Korea, I think people would have called you crazy. I agree with you that if something like this happens, it's certainly worthy of a Nobel Peace Prize. I want to go to you a little further about both about Facebook, but also to the story that just broke from NBC News and sources now to the story of wiretapping the Michael Cohen, who's President Trump's attorney. Sources are now saying federal investigators were monitoring calls but not listening to calls. So they're saying he was under surveillance, but his phone calls were not recorded, as reported by NBC News. Everybody was quick to believe NBC News, but now they are retracting it. This entire investigation and all of this mess that is going on, you have Michael Cohen saying one thing, Mayor Giuliani saying something completely different.
Yeah, and let me tell you something. When I'm talking to Tennesseans, what they will tell me is that they know that the Democrats and the liberal press are out to get President Trump. They voted for President Trump, and he was elected so that he would go drain the swamp. That is what they want to see happen. And all of this talk and hubbub doesn't do one thing: to create one more job or put one more paycheck in the pipeline for Tennesseans, and that's what Tennesseans are wanting to see. They want to see more tax cuts. They want more of an economic recovery. They like what is happening. They want to see the talks with North Korea succeed, the actions against the new axis of evil, Russia and Iran and China and North Korea. They want to see action there so that we do achieve some peace. They want to see the military rebuilt. And these are things that Donald Trump is accomplishing. This is something that they want to see more of. And quite frankly, they're not paying a whole lot of attention to all of these different investigations that are the hype of the day.
Congressman, switching gears a little bit, you had Mr. Zuckerberg on Capitol Hill. and you took them to task over Facebook and their privacy.
Right.
You proposed the Browser Act, which you mentioned to Mr. Zuckerberg, which he didn't know about at the time. But earlier in 2017, the FCC had the Obama-era Act, which you voted against. It was 100% partisan, Republicans voting against it. And what it did was it allowed third parties' information to be sold to from the telecoms. You voted against that, but then you enacted a bill, the Browser Act, which you're the lead sponsor on, which basically put that back in place, but it just added to edge providers, which are Facebook, Google, things like that. Why would you vote against that bill and make it the Wild West instead of just amending that bill and adding others to it?
Well, I would take issue with your term, the Wild West. Because what had happened with the net neutrality rules in Title II and the reclassification of the Internet all was a part of that. What you need is one set of rules with one privacy regulator for the entire Internet ecosystem. And what big tech wanted to do was to carve themselves out so that they did not have to abide by any privacy rules. And as we have seen, this is something that is not fair, and it is not right, and it certainly is a violation of your privacy rights. When you talk about these edge providers, which are your social media providers, YouTube, Google, Twitter, there is a problem with them and their data mining policies. They go in, they snoop around your post, if they view your videos, then they coalesce and sell the information from your data, to those that are wanting to advertise to you. That's why you have pop-ups, and that's why you have so much spam. And this is something that we need one set of privacy rules. It's time for the Browser Act. Facebook and the other social media outlets need to get their act together on protecting people's privacy.